Mm-hmm. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in or what time you're watching this video. I know this video has been out for a while, and I am a little behind on things, but if you can't see it, I've got a bit of a mishap, an injury. I have a fractured shoulder, which has kept me a little bit away from doing videos and whatnot, but I'm finally back. I'm excited to be back, and it's a bit of a rough start to summer, but we're here to kick it off with Token and Ren. I don't know that I've listened to a lot of Token in my life, but I'm here for it. I hope that you are all as well. Love you all. Missed you all. Let's jump right in, shall we? Let's go. We're the products of what we see.
I'm not right for you, but I'm just what I should be. You try to change me, I try to change you. We never change, do we? What does your love look like? 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 As much as I do wanna love you, I feel like we're speaking two different languages. Your house had a gate and mine had instigated, so that's the environment we feel safer when you thought it was crazy how
your house had a gate and mine had instigated. It's like you lived in a gated home, which is like a well-off home, so things were probably better for you than they were for me because mine had instigation. It's like this constant idea of you've done something wrong. It's this constant fight being started. It's this constant frustration, and like that's the difference between the houses we grew up in. Damn, that's a bar.
Your house had a gate and mine had instigated, so that's the environment we feel safer when you thought it was crazy how long that it took me to tell you I love you. Like that was the weirdest. I only heard dad say I love you with mom in the room when he went back to singing his lyrics. So how could you blame me? Cause you always choose to. You wanna know where I'll be at all the time, but that's not what I'm used to. Not what I'm used to. You knew where your dad was at work or he's home when he's taking the load up. I didn't know where until 1:24 the day I got that phone call. And I let the phone drop. I'm trying to be my best to be a gentleman. I'm trying to learn. I never had the chance. I still look to my manager, but he gon' teach me how to be a rapper before a good man. I'm afraid to find a letter on my.
Yo, that's bars, because it's like, you know, when you don't have a role model growing up, you start looking around for or you start hoping that someone else will teach you. Someone else will come around and teach you how to be a better person. But it's like in this case, it's like he has his manager who's almost like his role model. But at the end of the day, that relationship isn't about being a good man. It's not about being a good person. It's about being a better rapper. And so he still won't learn all the things that he needs to from that relationship. And that's wild. I also really like how we get this idea of like, your dad, you knew where he was all the time. I didn't know. I wasn't always aware. And so you wanting to know where I am all the time, it's weird for me because I grew up not ever knowing where my dad was. And so in this relationship of love, I feel comfortable with you not knowing where I am because that's how I was with my dad, whereas you feel comfortable knowing where I am because that's how you were with your dad. And that's crazy. And it's like the cycle repeats, right? And so that goes back to we are the products of what we see. My God.
But he gon' teach me how to be a rapper before a good man. I grew up afraid to find a letter on mama's dresser telling us goodbye. I'm used to it all, so you don't gotta hold back and cry. But I gotta tell you why I'm not right for you, but I'm just what I should be. You try to change me,
so is this like him?
We never change, do we? What does your love look like? 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 I'm not right.
Hang on, okay. I really like this. I thought this started off as like both of these guys talking about the way that their relationship or the way that they deal with relationships, but it almost feels like now this is almost like he's writing a letter like to his significant other saying like, this is the reasons why I don't think we belong together. And that's what he's putting down with pen to paper. But it's also, think about like, that's what rap is. It's taking your inner thoughts. It's taking your everything that's happening in your head and trying to put it down on paper. And that's what he's doing. So not only is he writing this letter to his loved one, he's also writing this rap for himself, and he's also discussing this with Ren, which is like 3 layers to this crazy. Oh, it's so good. But I really like what does your love look like? It's a question that you can ask Ren, or you can ask his significant other, his girlfriend, and it's almost like when he says it, he sounds defeated because it's like, even if he finds out what your love looks like, it still won't change the way necessarily that he feels because he's a product of what he sees. And that's what he says. I have the lyrics pulled up. Oh yeah, we never change, do we? It's like, even if you tell me, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to change. He almost sounds defeated, whereas you can tell, like, just from the shots, his girlfriend is actively trying to make differences, but he feels so like just kind of gone, like just apathetic, because it's like he knows he feels like he can't change, and that's part of the problem, right? It's like part of the problem is feeling like you'll never get over that, and if you succumb to that idea, you will never get over that, and that's what he's trying to find here. But that's why he's putting it down on paper, is to make that change. Damn. Okay.
What does your love look like?
Oh.
What does your love look like?
I also like how that bass line is like, it's somber and almost pensive. And that's kind of what this song is all about. And then as we get more layers of the story, more layers to what's happening, we start to build up on the music. And that's such a cool way to do the song.
I'm not right for you, but I won't get up and leave. Cause I hate the pain that is colour my veins, that is present in solitary. What did your love look like? Does it look black and white? Is it your kryptonite? Do all your demons get louder at night? And the voices get softened when we're intertwined. I've been going to therapy.
Bro, holy, when the bass like that, just the sounds came in, it sounded so almost like symphonic. I really like that. But he says here, it's like, I'm not right for you, but I'm not going to get up and leave, because whether you were there or not there, it's still there, because it's present, it's solitary. And it's like, that's almost that realization that it's like, it's not you that's the problem. And I am aware of that now. It's me that's going through these things and these thoughts. And that's why in solitary, it still exists. Whether I'm with someone or not, it doesn't change the fact that I feel these pains, I feel these struggles, and I feel these demons. Oh my God. And it's like, now the question of like, what does your love look like? Almost is like begging for a change, begging to see something different from what we are used to. My God. Okay.
Do all your demons get louder at night? And the voices get softened when we're intertwined. I've been going to therapy lately, cause the cause and effect made me hate the way that I feel when the loving gets real. Cause I just wanna run and escape the pressure that paints me. Pressure of safety, pressures of promises that turn to maybes. Pressure of bravely moving in the same direction. The pressure been driving me crazy. So my therapist said that these wounds that I
bro.
when I was a kid. And just like that, all my thoughts raced back to a Welsh town, 96. My mother was crying, my father was screaming and shouting, denying the sin of deceiving and cheating and lying. The weeds are uprooted, the garden is dying, but still she forgives. This cycle repeats every night I try to sleep, hearing the screams through concrete, mothering peace, a vision of love, a lesson that fused with the cells in my blood, a lesson that taught me that love ain't enough and the
Bro, oh my God, muddling peace, and then it's becoming part of the cells in the blood, because it's like almost, it's twofold, because one is like, it's starting to seep down into your inner core, but two is like, was I born with this way of loving because of a result of what my father did? Does that mean that I'm going to be the exact same way, and that it literally runs in my blood? Oh my God. But I love that if we're going to go back after, but like just the way that Ren raps this is like, as the pressure builds up, his tone also goes up with pressure. Like it sounds like almost like a pressure cooker ready to go off, until he finally arrives at like the therapist, and then we start to kind of understand where we're coming from, and then he goes back into this normal cadence, which almost is like what therapy can do for us. It can help us understand where these things come from, even though they've been plaguing us in the past so much, and the pressure keeps building up every time it happens. Now understanding it levens it a little bit. It makes it a little bit easier. Oh man.
a vision of love, a lesson that fused with the cells in my blood, a lesson that taught me that love ain't enough and that love can be porcelain when times get tough. Flash forward 5 years later, sitting in the passenger seat of my dad's car with my maker. My dad looked shaken, turned to face him. The words that he spoke cutthroat like razor. He said, Ren, sometimes love can be complicated, navigating a world that we co-created. And I've made mistakes, but I will love you daily. And just like that, it's just me, my mum and my sis. The stress left mum disabled for a bit. I grew up fast then, cause I gotta be a new Ren. Strong for my sister, my mum at a loose. Confused but moving through the confusion. My born new love feels fake like what does your love look like?
Bro, oh my god, look at the shot there. Oh, okay. I mean, like, damn, wow. Okay, so we get over here, right? Ren is in the passenger seat. He's listening to his dad, right? But then when we shift, as he grows up, he's now in the driver's seat. And it's almost like he's learned to drive the same way his dad did. And those are those pressures that we talked about earlier, with the pressure of like what love should feel like. But when you have that father figure who was supposed to be there for you, who's supposed to kind of support you and your family, love your mom, love your sister and yourself, and they suddenly just disappear while in the midst of trying to explain that they love you and that they're going to stay by you, and that they never do. Of course, in that, when that happens, inevitably you start to doubt what love is. You start to doubt like almost faithfulness. And I don't just mean faithfulness to a spouse or to a significant other, faithfulness to those you love in general, your children in this case. And so you begin to feel that pressure every time something starts to get serious. It's like, nah, it can't be serious, because what could possibly ever, how could I ever trust anyone again? How can I believe in that loyalty and that faithfulness ever again if this person who was supposed to be raising me, my maker, which is such a beautiful line, because it's like you thought of your father as God, right? Like that's how important he was to you, and yet he left you with nothing. How, after all of that, are you supposed to go back and make another relationship work when you can't even trust love? You can't trust faithfulness. You can't trust loyalty. You can't trust dedication and commitment. And it's like, that's what we're starting to realize now that we're actually going through it and therapizing via the therapist, is starting to understand where all this comes from. It all comes from this past that we've had, this checkered past. My God, okay.
Grew up fast then, cause I gotta be a new ran strong for my system.
He's in the fast lane.
But moving through the confusion, my new love feels fake like what does your love look like? Does it tear your inside? Does it keep you up at night? My brother. Does it make you feel like a fist in your windpipe? Suffocate the feeling of what love's meant to feel like. Navigating you, but I'm still not quite right. One night stand, make the pain stop one night. One more heart to the blade of my cold night. What does your love look like?
Oh my God. And it's like, think about all that. It's like it's strangling you. That feeling is literally choking the life of love in your mind. It doesn't feel like love exists anymore. It feels like love is dead because it's choked out. It no longer exists because of all that loss that you felt before. Oh my God. And I love that he speeds up as we start feeling like he's literally trying to learn everything on the fly, everything in the fast lane. And his cadence speeds up with it to represent that he's just bombarded with all these new things that he has to go through, because now he's living with his sister and his mom, and he has to kind of take on the mantle of the man of the house at such a young age. And to do that is devastating, because you're dealing with not only having to take all that on, but you're dealing with the loss of someone you love, someone who's supposed to be there. And having lost that, it's like, now how do I trust? How do I feel that love? And you start to disconnect, because it's easier to do that than it is to try to approach those feelings at that age. My God. Even the way he's driving is starting to get more erratic and more kind of just all over the place, because it's like, yeah, you don't even have a proper bearing, right? Like your mind is so disheveled, it's all over the place, that it feels like you're just kind of going off the rails. My God. What does your love look like?
You realize how hard that I work, and you told me you feel for me. If I lost all my motivation tomorrow, would you still love me? It's easy to love when I'm up, when I'm down and you leaving. You can't even give me an answer, cause you never seen it, and that's why it's hard to believe it. If you need help but I'm too far away, is it over for you? Maybe I'm just not the person for you, even though I still could be the soul for you. Maybe we are meant to be together, but our history got in the way. Your trust issues, my fear issues, too many issues at play.
Wow.
You yell fast, I get quiet, you wanna see more passion. I've seen what real yelling can lead to, so no, I don't have it. I grew up afraid to see holes in a wall in a room that was locked from inside. I promise I'm used to it all. You don't gotta ever hold back and cry, but I gotta tell you why I'm not right for you, but I'm just...
Bro, wow. I love, the way that was shot was so clean, because it's like, we've been talking about how it's almost paralleling like history repeating itself. And then we get these shots of like young Token seeing his father and his mother play out, while him, and then we jump to the future where it's him and his girlfriend, and he's having almost the same conversation, right? Where it's like, and I really like this one line where he goes like you want to see me yell, you want to see passion. I've seen yelling, and I know what that leads to, real yelling, because the yelling that you might have heard in the past is like, it might have been trivial. It might have been moments of just sporadic passion and anger that pass. But when the yelling gets real, when it gets too much, things start to break down. And that's the stuff that Token's seen. And so he's trying to avoid all that. And in that sense, he's basically telling us that in those moments, he closes off and closes into himself. And then he talks about the fact that he's living locked, or a room locked from the inside with holes in it. And it's like he still sees the outside world. He still hears everything that's going on. It's not that he doesn't feel, but it's that he doesn't let himself out. And so he traps himself into this box where he's the one who has the key. No one else can let him out. And he knows that because he's locked himself. It's locked from the inside. And it's like, that's the feeling that you get when you're faced with these moments where life is so difficult. You literally kind of close off and internalize everything as opposed to letting it out and letting it breathe and understanding it. And he knows that. And even knowing that, it's still hard to move past it. So that's what he's trying to explain in this song, or in this, I guess it is actually a letter to his significant other, to his girlfriend. He's trying to explain that it's like, it's not that I don't care. It's that I've been in this situation so often with so much intensity that I've almost turned, the only way to get through it for myself was just to turn everything off and kind of just go back inside into that room with the holes in it where nothing can get to me and I can't get to anything else, because that's the only way I manage to survive and manage to live and love. And that's why I don't think we'll work together. And that's what the song comes down to, is like, what does your love look like? It looks very different from mine. And that's why I don't think we'll ever make it work. Damn, man. Wow. And it's like the situation just repeating itself.
But I'm just what I should be. You try to change me, I try to change you. We never change, do we? What does your love look like? What does your love look like? What does your love look like? What does your love look like?
Bro, even like when the "what does your love look like" comes up, the sound, it almost sounds like a chorus of kids in the background. And it's like, that's like the inner child of you, the one that learned how to love, is also asking, what does your love look like? Because maybe it'd be easier to explain it to myself if I was younger. And in this moment now, your inner child is begging for you to teach me something different. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. These two are a force. I love just how, like, they're so vulnerable with their music and so open with their music, because this truly does feel like a letter you write to someone that you love, trying to explain how you're feeling and almost giving them this, like, I've got to go because I don't think I'm ever going to change. And it's like, that's so personal. That's so internal. To let others in on that takes so much strength. And both of these artists, like Ren and Token, are just so full of that courage to kind of let it all hang and let it all bear for everyone to see and understand, so that we can kind of internalize it for ourselves as well. And maybe it'll help us move forward. Maybe it'll help us understand ourselves, or just situations that we're diving into. And that's such a powerful thing, because it's music that creates emotion and creates movements apart from just listening to the song. It actually movement in our own lives and understanding in our own lives. And that's the power that music can have, especially when you have two artists like this. Wow, that was a banger. Wow. I hope that you enjoyed as well. I hope that your week is better than your day, your month is better than your week, your year is better than your month. Love you all. And I will see you soon on the next one.